Hi and welcome to Slick Willy Fly, and today what we're going to do is a gurgler. Gurgler is one of these awesome topwater snook, redfish, sea trout. It's just a great fly for, I love throwing this in the early morning, low light, on a grass flat. You never know what's going to come up and smash it. It's a easy to tie, great little lure. So what am I going to have for a hook? I'm probably going to use a B10 Stinger size 2. I'm going to use mono thread, and then I'm going to probably finish the mono thread with a little chartreuse or yellow, because this particular one, the one in the vise is orange. The one we're going to tie, I'm probably going to go to this ultra chartreuse thread for finishing it off. I have a little chartreuse deer hair. I have a little bit of this Senyo laser, which I may use. I didn't use any Senyo laser on this one, but we might. And I probably will use a little bit of this Ripple Ice in gold. You can see the Ripple Ice in orange mixed in with this deer hair. I just think it looks good. Then I'm going to use a piece of tan foam. Now, in the foam, I've already pre-cut it. I cut it into this polygon shape. It's not really a triangle. I don't come to a point. It's four-sided. I usually buy my foams in tan, black. I don't buy a lot of colors, because what I do have is a bag full of Sharpies, which I can dress up and paint up. This one here was tan, and I pretty much colored it up orange. So I'm going to use this tan foam. For thread, I'm going to use mono thread. This is a Vivis mono thread. They're JO2. Any mono thread will work. The thing about mono thread is it's slippery, so it's a little bit more work working with a mono thread. For the body, I'm going to use this olive green polar cactus chenille. It's a very long chenille, which should work. And then that's pretty much it. Markers and tie it off. Very, very simple fly. So hope you're enjoying your cocktail. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. And I say we change the camera angle and let's tie a fly. Okay. So we'll pop that out. Let's put a hook in. You know, this isn't the kind of fly where I need to get a ton of stuff ready. It's a really simple fly to tie. I'm going to put a little bit of super glue on the shank, and that's plenty right there. And I'm going to go ahead and start my thread into this super glue. You know, the monofilament thread, I love it because it's clear, but it does take a little bit of, you know, getting used to. You absolutely don't need to tie this with mono thread. You can use any thread you like. I just like the fact that it's clear. And now I am going to take a 2-second pause just to let this super glue dry, so it's not a nightmare when I come with the deer hair. And we're back. Okay, so the first material we're going to put on, I'm going to go ahead and use a little bit of this Senyo Lazerdub. I'm going to go ahead and put it on first. Trim a little bit of this. I'm going to put it on just in the back, like a tail. I just like the way this Lazerdub looks when it's wet. Is really ultimately the whole reason I'm using it. And I could trim it just a little. I don't really trim it, I just kind of rake my scissors across the top of it. Okay, So I'm going to basically use 2 clumps of deer hair, and I am going to remove all the shorts and the crazy longs. I got a little brown in that clump. It won't matter. It's the underneath clump. You know, when you buy a bucktail, I'm assuming you guys have bought a bucktail before. They have some dark fibers, no matter what color bucktail you buy. I just trimmed off a few. It's not going to mount to anything. It's okay. So there's my first clump of bucktail that I'm going to put on. And I'm going to go ahead and give this a couple of loose wraps. And now I'm going to try to use my fingers to help work it around the hook. And now I'm going to go ahead and lock that down. Perfect. And I know that this really doesn't matter, but I'm going to trim off a little bit of this tag just because I don't want to build too much bulk at this point in the fly. We got to get that foam tied in. Okay, so at this point I like to put in my gold flash. So you don't need a lot. I like this stuff because it's crinkly and usually comes out relatively straight out of the package, and that right there is more than enough. I'm gonna go ahead and try to make them all kind of the same length. Tough to do, but this will work. So I'm gonna go ahead and put there's no like right or wrong way to do this. Just gonna put a couple of loose wraps in. Thread wasn't folding the way I wanted it to fold. Now it is. I wanted it to fold back towards my fingers. So now I'm just gonna, before I pull down tight on anything, I just kind of want to spread this around. Because this is, you know, the last of the flash in the tail. And we can lock that in. Just like that. I have one that doesn't want to cooperate. Okay. So now it's one more clump of chartreuse, and this time I'm going to be a little bit more careful. I really don't want to get any of those dark fibers. Again, I'm going to pull out all the shorts. I'm going to check my length. This is kind of just like a topping. So that's about the length right there. You don't need to do this way. You could have easily gotten away with one clump. I just like to have the flash sitting inside. So 2 loose wraps, and now I'm using my thumb and my fingers to kind of spread that around. And now we're going to go ahead and crank that tight, just like that. And again, I am going to trim off this tag. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the foam. So I didn't go into details about how I cut the foam. The reason I didn't go into details about how I cut the foam is because it all depends on what size hook you're using. So the foam needs to be long enough that when you attach the foam, it can be folded over and you make that front lip. So that's the whole key to the foam. And of course, depending on what size hook, it's going to be what size, you need to make your little foam. So I have my foam pretty much perfectly cut that I'm going to leave. Let me get a needle here. I'm going to leave a gap of about 1/8 of an inch, a few millimeters in the front, so that I can have a good tie-in point there. But this is essentially my tie-in point for the foam. So I'm just going to put a few wraps in right now, making sure that I like where it's sitting. I'm not really cranking too awful hard right now, even if it looks like I am, I'm really not. And once I like where it's sitting, and I've cranked it back and forward a few times, then I will crank down hard and just really secure the foam onto the top of the hook exactly the way I want it. Just like that. And I'm very happy with the way that turned out. And now we can get the last material, which is going to be this little polar chenille. And I'm going to go ahead, just to make life easy, I don't normally do this, but I'm going to trim off a section. And I don't like to do that because I end up with a little bit of waste when I do that, but for the video, I guess we'll do it. So I'm going to go ahead and tie it in. Now I bring my thread up and out of the way. And I guess I'll use the rotary function just for this video. You don't have to, but it does make life a little easier. So you're just kind of wrapping it up as thick or thin as you like. And it really is just a preference. What I love about this kind of material is that it gives me great action in the water. And I do like to leave it about the same distance that I started the foam back from the eye of the hook, just for my tie-in. Now I capture that. A couple of wraps in front, and you can trim off that tag, and that's plenty. I'm going to absolutely save this because I can probably tie 2 more flies with that. I'm going to set that aside. Now I like to make sure that all these fibers are going the right way. And lock them down. Then I like to use my fingers and kind of divide the fibers a little bit. So I really want them to stick out. I don't want them to all get trapped under the foam. Okay, so now the trick is to give yourself that little bend. The thread is at that nice tie-in point that we decided on. And I'm going to go ahead and holding it as tightly as I can so it stays where I want it. We're going to lock that in. Just like that. And once that's locked in, I can bring my thread to the front. And now it's a whip finish. Now I could cut off the mono, and we're going to restart another thread. Now I'm going to go ahead and restart my Chartreuse, which I did not pre-prep, I apologize, but this will only take a second. Again, you really don't need to take this step. I just think it looks cool. this little tag. I'm going to take a second and carefully try and trim away some of the fibers that were going the wrong way. And now I'm going to just build this up a little. Because I just think it looks good. I love this color. Now it's a whip finish. Trim away the chartreuse. And basically, the fly can be fished exactly the way it is right now. But I like to mark it up. So I have a little bit of green, I have a little bit of browns, and I'm just going to use a little bit of green and brown, and I'm going to come in here and just start giving this a little bit more random coloration. And you can get as artistic or not as you like. One other thing that I like to do, it'll be hard to see, I like to round off this edges here, this little wing. I don't know, it probably doesn't matter, but it's just the way I like to see it. Green, and that's pretty much gonna be it. Just random amphibious looking colorations. If you want, you could fold that up, put a little UV resin on there if you want. I don't think it's necessary. I'm probably going to finish it off with a little bit of hard as nails, just to make that knot look great. But that's it. Alright, so welcome back. So there it is. Really the only thing left to do, little hard as nails. It's not even that necessary. It will make your fly last longer. Just a little hard as nails right on the knot itself. And you know, sometimes I have actually put hard as nails on the foam. Just gives it a little bit more toughness. This is a great fly. If you work it slow, it kind of like swims on the surface, or you can rip it and pop it and work a lot like a popper. Floats great. Chartreuse, orange, black, they're kind of my favorite colors. Black is a great color. Don't forget black. Thank you again for watching. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. Hope you're enjoying a cocktail with me. Good luck catching, and we'll see you on the next video.